You only wanted to prove it was fake. One game, one night. But sometime between midnight and 3:33 a.m., the rules stopped working. The candle went out. Something moved behind you. And you realized these weren't just stories. They were instructions. And thousands of people swear they followed them once. Tonight, you're not playing them. You're surviving them. These are the internet's most disturbing urban legend rituals, and what happens to the people who try them. The midnight game. You stand at your front door at 11:59 p.m. The whole house feels different, quieter, like it's holding its breath with you. The candle in your hand is shaking, and you tell yourself it's just your grip, until you realize your hand is perfectly still. Online, they call it the midnight game. If you trace it back far enough, it looks like a fake pagan punishment ritual someone uploaded years ago as creepypasta. A spooky little dare for bored teenagers. But then, people started doing it. The premise looks simple when you read it. There is something outside your home, and from midnight to 3:33 a.m., you invite it in. You're supposed to play with it, avoid it, survive it. Everyone talks about the rules, but no one agrees on what they actually are or what breaking them looks like. What matters is what people explain when things go wrong. You don't realize you've made a mistake until the candle goes out. Some say that's the first rule. Others say it's the moment you've already broken one. First, the temperature drops, not like opening a window, like stepping into a walk-in freezer. That's when people say you've stopped playing and started being tested. You can see your breath in the hallway you've lived in for years. Then the sounds start. Light scratching on the walls, breathing that doesn't match yours. That feeling that something is standing just behind you, close enough that if you turn around, your face will be inches from its chest. Forum posts, anonymous blogs, late-night confession threads, they all end the same way. I thought it was just a joke, until the power cut out and something knocked from inside the closet. Most people laugh it off as fiction, until they scroll one post too far, and realize the rules were never meant to protect you. The next ritual doesn't wait outside your house. It waits in your phone. The death phone game. Your phone buzzes at midnight. Unknown number. The message just says, "Make a wish, but don't forget the price." It looks like spam, some edgy chain message from the early smartphone era. Except this one spreads. They call it different things. The death phone game, the midnight text, the future call, but the structure is always the same. A number you're not supposed to dial, a message you're not supposed to answer, a promise you're not supposed to believe. Those are the easy rules, the ones you hear about. Some versions say it can curse someone for you. Some swear it can protect you for a cost. And some claim it will tell you exactly how you're going to die. What makes it terrifying isn't the offer, it's the escalation. You start alone, one message, one dare. Then the rules start demanding more. Not all at once, not the same for everyone. Other people's numbers, personal objects, payments you owe once your wish comes true. People share screenshots like trophies, then the stories quietly shift. Glitches that shouldn't happen, calls that show up in your history, even though your phone never rang. That's usually when people realize they broke a rule they didn't know existed. And buried in those threads, you find the ones that feel a little too specific to ignore. I answered at 2:12 a.m. It was my own voice on the other end, but older. It knew things about me I haven't done yet. Most of these rituals start with curiosity. This one punishes attention. The next one starts with a button you've pressed 1,000 times, just never in this order. The elevator game. You press the last button in the sequence and feel the elevator shudder to a stop. The doors don't open, not to your world anyway. This one is born in online whispers out of Korea, an urban legend that escaped language barriers and spread everywhere. 7 floors, a specific order, and no agreement on what counts as a mistake. People post the patterns like they're cheat codes, but they don't talk about what it feels like when the elevator changes. The numbers flicker. You feel the car moving, but the display stays frozen. And then there's the woman on the 5th floor. Every version agrees on her. The doors open, and she steps in. Everyone thinks they know the rules. Don't look at her. Don't speak to her. Don't react, even when she stands close enough that you can feel her breathing against the side of your face. Break that rule, they say, and you won't be the one who decides whether you go home. Online, you can find grainy elevator CCTV, usually posted by people who swear they followed the rules, where doors open to empty hallways that look slightly wrong. Extra doors, hallways that don't match the building, figures standing just out of frame. People who swear they played talk about stepping out onto a floor that looked like their lobby, but the lights were too dim, the air was too still, the exit doors were there but wouldn't open, and behind them the elevator doors start to close. Once you start the sequence, you're committed. Every floor is a decision you can't take back. And when you finally reach the bottom, you might not be the only thing that decided to leave. Not every ritual lets you ride alone. Some of them follow you home, and then they want to play. One man, hide and seek. You turn off the lights. Somewhere in the apartment, a wet, stuffed doll is counting, and you can hear it moving. Hitori Kakurenbo, one man, hide and seek. A Japanese-born internet legend designed to spread. A children's game twisted just enough to feel wrong. You don't have to memorize the ingredients list to understand why it went viral. You take something harmless, you open it up, you fill it with things that don't belong inside a toy, you give it a name, and then you invite something else to use it. Stories don't bother with step-by-step instructions anymore. They skip straight to the aftermath. Rice spilling from seams that were tied tight, water in the bathtub turning murky on its own, the TV flipping to static in the middle of the night, even when it isn't plugged in. You leave the doll in one room, you hide in another, you count. And somewhere between 88 and 99, you realize something is wrong. The footsteps aren't coming from the room where you left the doll. They're wet, slow, too deliberate to be accidental. The most unsettling accounts are quiet, no screaming, no jump scares. Just people who went back to the room where they left the doll and found it gone. Found small, wet footprints leading out into the hallway. Found the TV on in a room they hadn't entered. Found tiny scratch marks on the door they were hiding behind. That's the part nobody explains clearly. Not how to stop, not how to win. Just the moment you realize the game didn't end when you stopped playing. Every story starts the same way. I thought it was just a game. So far, every ritual you've heard about starts because someone chooses it. They light the candle. They press the buttons. They send the text. The next ones don't care what you choose. They only care that you're the last one there, or that you took the wrong set of stairs. The closing time ritual. You turn the key in the shop's front door, and the street outside goes dead silent. Behind you, one of the ceiling lights flickers back on by itself. If you've ever been the last person in a store, an office, a school, you already know the feeling. Rooms you've walked through 100 times suddenly feel unfamiliar. The air conditioning sounds like breathing. The security cameras feel less like tools and more like eyes. The closing time ritual doesn't have a single origin thread or author to blame. It spreads in whispers between night shift workers, passed from cashier to cashier, guard to guard. Not rules to win, rules to survive. Don't turn off that aisle first. Never check that mirror after midnight. If the cameras freeze on one screen, do not go to that part of the building alone. Online, you'll find versions everywhere because it only works in places that once felt safe. The details change, the buildings change, but the moment is always the same. Once the door is locked and the last customer leaves, you are not alone. One story comes from a clerk closing up a convenience store. Every night, he shuts off the lights in the same order: stockroom, back aisle, then front. One night, he turns off the back aisle light, and it clicks back on 5 seconds later. The camera feed shows someone standing in that aisle, completely still. He's the only one scheduled in the building. Another account comes from an office worker. Every night, she does a final walkthrough. One evening, she glances at the CCTV and sees herself standing in the lobby, even though she's still on the 10th floor. In the next frame, the figure in the lobby looks up at the camera and smiles. Whether you believe these stories or not, the rules people invent are revealing. They're not trying to summon anything. They're not trying to escape. They're just trying not to be noticed. Because once something notices you back, the rules stop working. If the closing time ritual haunts your workplace, the last one doesn't wait in a game or a message. It waits in the places no one uses anymore. The staircase death game. You're halfway up the abandoned staircase when you realize you've counted this step before. The building is supposed to be empty. The stairwell is supposed to be sealed off. But everyone knows that one place, one school, one hospital, one apartment block with a staircase you are not supposed to use. Too many accidents, too many stories. They call it the staircase death game. You tell yourself you're just exploring, just cutting through to save time, just taking a shortcut. You put your foot on the first step and start counting. 1, 2, 3. The concrete is cold through your shoes. The handrail feels dusty, untouched. 4, 5, 6. Halfway up, you feel it. That awareness that you're being watched from above and from below. In the stories, there's always a number. Sometimes it's 13 steps, sometimes 20, sometimes a number no one ever writes down. You reach the landing, you turn, you keep going. Your breathing is loud now, too loud. Your footsteps echo, and then you hear another set. Not behind you, not ahead of you, just slightly out of sync with your own. When you finally reach the top, you know the number. You don't say it out loud. You don't write it down. You carve it into your memory. Something about this place feels wrong. So you turn around and start back down. 1, 2, 3. You reach the landing. 6, 7, 8. your chest tightens. Because the numbers don't match. You're at the bottom, but you haven't reached the number you counted at the top. The stories always end the same way. No matter how slowly you walk, no matter how carefully you step, there is one extra footprint on the dusty floor, right behind yours. Close enough that if you turned around, you wouldn't see it. You'd feel it breathing. These rituals were never meant to make sense. They were meant to spread. A rumor at a sleepover, a copy-pasted post on a dead forum, a late-night dare sent to a friend who can't sleep. You're not supposed to try them. You're just supposed to wonder what would happen if you did. And then be grateful you never found out. Because once you light the candle, once you press the button, once you take that first step, you're already part of it. You didn't choose what you dreamed about last night. Something else made the decision, and they've been testing it on people like you for decades. There's a rumor that inside ordinary sleep labs and perfectly normal psychology studies, there's a second project no one talks about out loud. A project that doesn't just watch what you dream, it tries to rewrite it. We know for a fact that real people have been kept under heavy sedation, with recorded messages playing over and over while they slept, part of brutal experiments that tried to erase memories and alter behavior in ways no one fully understood. Those experiments are documented. They exist in official reports and academic history. What no one can agree on is what survived after those programs were shut down. Because some people swear they never left the experiments behind. They're still meeting the same symbols and the same strangers in their dreams. Tonight, I want to tell you about the society they blame, the ones they call the Somnari. No public logo, no website, just a pattern. Sleep labs, clinical trials, wellness apps, and whispered stories about dreams that feel deliberate. You like to tell yourself that your dreams are random, just your brain firing off sparks in the dark. But for decades now, while you sleep, other people have stayed awake, watching your brainwaves in glowing lines, listening to the sounds you make in the night, mapping exactly what happens when a thought becomes a dream. They know when your eyes start to flicker behind your eyelids. They know when you're falling, running, trapped. And in some rooms, they don't just measure, they push. There are real devices built to guide dreams, playing sounds or words right as you slip into sleep, nudging your mind towards specific images. Scientists call it dream incubation, a harmless way, they say, to help you solve problems or have nicer dreams. But once you know how to nudge a dream, you also know how to aim one. That's the part that keeps certain researchers up at night, not because they're doing it, but because they're worried someone else will. Someone who looks at your dreams and doesn't see something private or sacred. They see a window they can crawl through. According to the stories, that's where the Somnari began, not as a robed cult in a basement, but as a small circle inside real institutions, a handful of psychologists, neurologists, and corporate visionaries who realized that sleep was the last place no one had managed to fully control. They watched the old experiments where people lay in hospital beds, sedated and helpless, while the same recorded sentence played into their ears for hours, days, weeks. They saw the damage, the blank eyes, the scrambled personalities, and instead of turning away in horror, they asked a different question. What if we don't try to break someone's mind when they're awake? What if we learn to write directly inside their dreams? That's where the witnesses say the pattern starts. Not written down, never official. Just a series of projects that seem to echo each other. Studies that claim to explore harmless things like, how can we help people dream about what they want to achieve? How do we guide nightmares into more positive stories? On paper, those sound almost kind, helpful, therapeutic. But the people who talk about the Somnari tell a different kind of story. They talk about doors, voices, and symbols that follow them for years. Sarah was 34 the first time she told anyone about her hallway. She's an accountant. She doesn't believe in ghosts. She hates horror movies. But for 12 years, she's been walking the same corridor in her sleep. You might know the feeling, that one dream that keeps coming back like a rerun. The same room, the same smell, the same wrongness. For Sarah, it always began with the lights, fluorescent tubes buzzing overhead, casting a sick, humming glow over everything. The walls were the color of old teeth. The air felt heavy, like she was deep underground. At the far end of the hallway stood a single door, metal, featureless, except for a brass handle that caught the light. The first time, curiosity won. She reached out and tried to turn it. It didn't move. As she pulled harder, she heard something from the other side. A voice, muffled, close. Not yet. You'll know when it's time. She woke up, gasping, heart hammering in the dark. It was just a dream. Of course it was just a dream. Until it came back. The second time, the 5th, the 10th. The hallway grew sharper with every visit. The walls picked up tiny cracks. The metal door showed scratches around the handle, like other hands had tried before hers. And the voice grew clearer. It's almost time. Years passed. Different apartments, different jobs, different bed. Same hallway, same door, same feeling that something or someone was waiting just on the other side. She tried all the usual explanations: stress, repressed memories, too much caffeine. Then one night, after another hallway dream, she lay awake, scrolling through her phone, trying to distract herself. An article caught her eye. It was about a sleep lab running experiments on guiding people's dreams with sounds and images. They were trying to see if they could make strangers all dream about the same place. The example picture in the article made her drop her phone. A fluorescent hallway, long, windowless. At the end, a door with a brass handle. She told herself it was a coincidence, until she read the description of the experiment. First, they played the sound of humming fluorescent lights through headphones as people drifted off. Then, a quiet, calm voice on repeat. Walk toward the door. Don't open it yet. You'll know when it's time. Sarah had never taken part in that study. She'd never even lived in that city. So why had she been walking that hallway for years? Why had she heard that same line whispered through the metal? The article never mentioned the Somnari. It never mentioned any secret society. But at the very bottom, in tiny text, was a list of companies that had funded the research. One of them made sleep tracking apps, the same one Sarah had been using for almost a decade. Every night, she had set her phone on the nightstand, let it listen to her breathing, let it map her movements, handing over her most vulnerable hours in exchange for a neat little graph in the morning. The app told her how efficiently she slept, how long she spent in deep sleep, how often she dreamed. She had never wondered what else it was learning about her. According to the rumors, that's where the Somnari live now, not in hidden temples, but in the blank spaces of user agreements, in research grants, in the overlap between people who study dreams and people who want to sell things to you. Some researchers have already warned about a future where companies try to plant images directly into your dreams, so you wake up already wanting something, already afraid of something, already trusting something. To the people who talk about the Somnari, that future feels less like a warning and more like a rough draft. They say the Somnari started small, with test subjects who signed long forms they barely read, people who thought they were helping cure nightmares or studying creativity. But then the stories changed. They started coming from people who never stepped inside a lab, like Daniel. He'd always had vivid dreams, not nightmares exactly, just intense. But around his 30th birthday, they shifted. He started dreaming about people he'd never met. Not monsters, not faceless shapes, just men and women in plain clothes, always a little too still. They didn't speak, they only watched. Sometimes, behind them, he could see a symbol on the wall, a circle cut by a vertical line, with 3 short horizontal marks like steps. It showed up on doors, badges, and the backs of chairs. Every time he woke, the details faded, but the symbol stayed. He forgot about it during the day, until it followed him out of sleep. He saw it in a blurred logo, on a paper at his doctor's office, on a flyer about a restorative sleep study, on the loading screen of a mindfulness app his therapist recommended. The symbol was never exactly the same, sometimes thicker, sometimes thinner, stylized, rotated, but his body knew it. Whenever it appeared, he felt that same pressure in his chest that he only got in those dreams, sitting under the gaze of those silent strangers. He started keeping a notebook by his bed, sketching the symbol the second he woke up. On good nights, the lines matched perfectly. On bad nights, his hand shook too much. In one dream, one of the watchers finally spoke. "You're adapting well," they said. "To what?" he asked. Nobody answered. When he told a friend about it, she laughed and sent him a link, an article about recurring characters in dreams that psychologists were trying to study. At the end, buried in the comments, someone had written 2 words: "Trust Somnari." The comment had no profile picture, no history. When he refreshed the page, it was gone. Most people don't notice patterns like that. They wake up, shake off the dream, and scroll. But the ones who do, the ones who start keeping notebooks, screenshots, timelines, their stories all sound strangely alike. Doors, symbols, strangers who feel less like figments and more like observers. None of that by itself proves anything. We know that recurring dreams are real. We know that the brain can pull symbols from tiny moments you barely remember. We know that sleep labs and devices exist that can gently steer the contents of a dream with sounds and cues. That's all documented. That part is true. The Somnari? No one can show you a roster. No one can leak a meeting schedule. Maybe that's why the rumor survives, because you can't point to a single building and say, They're in there. If a group like that exists, they wouldn't need a building at all. They'd live in the spaces between things, in the labs that test how long you dream, in the companies that collect the sounds of your sleep, in the quiet agreements between people who think the human mind is just another place to be optimized, branded, sold. You tell your phone when you're going to bed. You let it listen to you breathing. Some of you let it record everything that happens in your room all night, just to label it as snoring or talking. You log your nightmares into apps that promise to help you understand them. There's no evidence that dreams are being controlled at scale, no proof of a single hand guiding millions of minds at once. But there has never been a time when more people voluntarily record their sleep. If a secret society wanted to study millions of dreams at once, they wouldn't need a single underground bunker. They just need you to keep pressing I agree. So tonight, when you close your eyes and the edges of your room start to blur, pay attention. If you find yourself in a hallway you don't remember, standing before a door you never chose, if you see a symbol that doesn't belong to any memory you have, or meet a stranger who feels like they've been waiting for you a very, very long time, ask yourself, is this just a dream your brain stitched together from scraps of your day? Or is someone out there, awake, watching the same pattern flicker across a screen and taking notes?